Hello Skillr Boxers. Today we'll analyse what many consider the most beautiful style of boxing, the Cuban style. We'll break down its philosophy and most notorious skills, exemplified by some of the greatest Cuban boxers both past and present. By the end, you'll not only understand what makes Cuban boxing so exceptional, but we'll also uncover their secret ingredients. Most of the examples we'll use today are from professional boxing, though many of these athletes have extensive amateur backgrounds. Some still carry a more traditional amateur style, while others have adapted to the professional game with a more aggressive approach. But despite these differences, we can identify commonalities that fall under what we consider the Cuban style of boxing. Let's start with their philosophy and influence. But first, remember you can watch one of the greatest Cuban boxers in Elussive Lara on the undercard of the Canelo-Berlanga fight, September 14th on DAZN. Check the link in the description and don't miss the fight. Cuban philosophy. Boxing first arrived in Cuba in 1909 as a tourist attraction. Professional boxing grew steadily until 1961 when it was banned. That same year, the National Institute of Sports, Physical Education and Recreation, INDA, was founded, marking the beginning of what we now recognize as Cuban boxing. This was when Alcides Sagara, the head coach of the Cuban national team, began shaping the style that would dominate the sport. His philosophy, along with the work of his coaching team, played a pivotal role in developing Cuban boxing. Not only did they train boxers, but they also trained other coaches, allowing Sagara's philosophy to be passed down through generations.
Empezamos a montar ya casi todos los cimientos de la escuela, a entrenar a los entrenadores para que pudieran enseñar.
Although this style was specifically tailored for amateur boxing, its fundamentals continue to influence professional boxing today. The Cuban style is a blend of two major schools of boxing, the European and the American. In Europe, boxing is traditionally focused on strength and physical attributes, while in America, the emphasis is on technique and slickness. Cuban boxing successfully integrates both the physical and the technical, as explained by Dr. Pedro Diaz.
La escuela cubana está compuesta por dos grandes escuelas, o sea, la escuela europea, incluyendo todos los países, y la escuela americana. En Europa, el boxeo se trabaja fundamentalmente sobre la base de la fuerza. En América, Estados Unidos, se trabaja sobre el virtuosismo, la parte técnico-táctica. Entonces, en Cuba se trató de articular lo físico con lo técnico-táctico.
Isidoro Alice also discusses the influence of these two schools on Cuban boxing.
El boxeo cubano está fundamentado en la defensa europea y la pierna americana. Y entonces en 1962 hicimos nuestra propia escuela.
So the extent of the Soviet impact is debated.
El entrenador principal de Stevenson se llama Alcides Sagara Galón. Andrés Cherboleño entró aquí en 1970. Ya Stevenson era Stevenson ya. Entonces nosotros vemos que él tiene una aceptación por Teófilo. Tiene un interés por Teófilo. Y yo le digo, usted va a entrenarlo junto conmigo.
The two words often repeated by Cuban boxers are technique and strategy. Dr. Pedro Diaz emphasizes the importance of strategy in boxing.
La técnica de cada deporte te brinda a ti los elementos especializados del deporte, como golpeo, como corro, como lanzo una pelota, como pateo en el fútbol, como monto una bicicleta, como nado.
Noting that a boxer must not only master all aspects of technique, but also be smart and adaptable enough to use those techniques to their advantage.
La táctica es la que te posibilita a ti utilizar estos medios, y para utilizar estos medios durante el combate, la lucha entre dos seres humanos, realmente hay un factor fundamental, que es la inteligencia, tiene que ser inteligente.
To sum up, the Cuban boxer can be described as technical, intelligent and highly conditioned, with the ability to move fluidly around the ring using lateral movements to outpoint their opponents. Now, let's take a look at what we have identified to be their best skills. Accurate power. Given that the Cuban style has its roots in amateur boxing, the emphasis has traditionally been on speed, accuracy and technique rather than raw power.
My biggest takeaway was I got to stop once. Look, Demons out of his life. Now he's a full-time fighter. Dose him there.
However, this doesn't mean that Cuban boxers lack power. Instead, their power comes from different sources.
Fans here at Staples Center. Oh, big left hand! Down goes Cushion!
Cuban boxers often generate power not by sitting on their punches and throwing their entire body weight into them, but by exploiting openings with quick, accurate punches that catch their opponents off guard. This approach can be just as effective, if not more so, as it often results in devastating knockouts without the need for telegraphed wind-up punches.
Chez les amateurs, moi, à Cologne, oh, quel! Oh! Wow! Et là, aïe, aïe, aïe.
They also use a low guard sometimes, again many of them coming from an amateur background where a low guard is seen more often.
He likes to right hand, he just came in.
This, while making it more risky, allows them to see openings more clearly and makes their punches difficult to read.
Admit to the clinch from Pizarro. So that's to his credit.
A lot of times we'll see devastating knockouts, not by aggressive and exaggerated movements, but by relaxed, well-timed punches that catch the opponent in between their punches. In these cases, they have adapted to the need of power from the pro game, but with the amateur fundamentals of speed and accuracy. Elussive footwork. Perhaps the most recognizable aspect of Cuban boxing is their elusive footwork. As with many of their skills, the influence of amateur boxing is deeply embedded in this area, making footwork a cornerstone of their style. Cuban boxers are renowned for their footwork, with some of the best examples being Guillermo Rigondeaux and Erislandy Lara.
Good work by Castaño, was trying to cry. Lara needs to shoot.
To win because Solis is thrown double back to what I'm sure his...
Their ability to move around the ring with precision and ease makes it incredibly difficult for opponents to cut off the ring. This mastery of distance control, combined with impeccable foot coordination, is a hallmark of the Cuban style. They also have great balance and have no problems transitioning from defense to offense with their feet. Effective counterpunching. Counterpunching is another crucial element in amateur boxing, and Cuban boxers are particularly adept at this skill. Their excellent foot coordination allows them to counter effectively, often using their footwork to create angles for counterattacks that are difficult to anticipate. A word that is often emphasized in Cuban boxing is travels or moves, which refers to step backs, side steps, and anything in between. This can be used both defensively and offensively to create angles and punch after the move.
The knockout for you can get. No, I think he's got to show Jim is very much a pro style. Knock this guy out. I am a knockout puncher. That's what I'm looking for.
Together with their accurate and fast way of punching, it can lead to devastating counterattacks.
You know, this guy is slow.
Secret ingredient. Before we reveal the secret ingredient, remember you can watch Lara fight Danny Garcia with the link on the description, and you'll also get a 7-day free trial of DAZN with the pay-per-view. So what's the secret ingredient that sets Cuban boxers apart? According to Alcides Sagara, it's quite literally an ingredient: sugar.
¿Cómo es posible que este paisito tan pequeño tengan tantas cosas, tantos músicos, tanta cultura, tantos deportistas? Dice, bueno, ¿qué tienen esta gente? Azúcar. Tenemos azuquita. Los cubanos tenemos azuquita.
In this context, Sagara uses the term sugar to describe the innate rhythm that is embedded in Cuban boxers, and in Cuban culture as a whole, that makes them stand out from the rest of the competition. This rhythm is something that runs through their veins, a natural part of their identity that's deeply tied to their cultural heritage. Music plays a huge role in Cuban life, and this connection to rhythm is reflected in their movements, not just in the dance halls, but also in the boxing ring. Rhythm and timing are crucial in boxing. And for Cuban fighters, these elements are second nature. This natural rhythm, combined with their elusive footwork and lightning fast, accurate counterpunches, is what defines the Cuban style. It's this sugar that gives them their unique flavour, making them so difficult to beat and so mesmerising to watch. But now, we'd love to hear your interpretation of the Cuban style. Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, you can find more on our channel. And to your left, we have chosen a video that we thought you may like.